This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Hey, welcome to Friday on the Opry Plaza as we get ready for a big Friday night show. Charlie Matos run that lineup, including Tayler Holder, who's coming to see us in just a few minutes. Is going to be there with you.
He will be our guest announcer tonight at the Opry. Absolutely. And Opry stars Vince Gill, Riders in the Sky, Don Schlitz, Old Crow Medicine Show, along with special guests Rodney Crowell, Stephanie Urbina Jones, bringing the honky tonk mariachi, Jed Hughes, and John Morgan. And John and I will be doing a special post-show event in the Circle Room that you can be a part of because his new record, Carolina Blue, is out.
Oh, that's cool.
Taylor's introducing him tonight as a part of the Opry and coming to see us here in a few minutes. Donna Fargo in the 9 o'clock hour this morning. So as you listen and watch, of course, on Circle Country Television in the 8 o'clock hour, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock in the East. Coffee, Country, and Cody with Kelly Sutton's entertainment here in just a little while.
I know. We need T-shirts that say, "Who is Donna Fargo and why does she love me so much?"
Yes.
Every time. I love it so much. All right, coming up, CMA Fest in the Grand Ole Opry. We got big shows that are happening. And if you're planning on coming into town for CMA Fest in early June, you might want to add some of these Opry shows to your list of things to do. Also, Casey Musgraves has a full circle moment coming back to the label she was first signed to with a cover of a Hank Williams classic. And we're talking Derby. So we've already said how the mint julep came into Kentucky Derby fame. But how did hats become a tradition? You always see the ladies with the big hats.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got all of that coming up.
You're on Coffee, Country, and Cody all over the world on WSM Radio, Opry Live. We will go there. You'll see Little Big Town and hear them, too, doing Stay All Night here in just a little while. But right now, Megan Maroney gets us going in the 8 o'clock.
WSM.
And Tayler Holder just sat down. You're going to guest announce on the Grand Ole Opry. You want to practice with us on Coffee, Country, and Cody this morning?
Yes, sir, man.
Well, it's great to see you.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
We've been catching up on small town Texas.
There we go.
You grew up south of Fort Worth in a little place called Alvarado, Texas.
Yes, sir.
And I've got friends in that area in Cleburne, which is just up the road from where you
It's
grew up.
surprising because no one knows where Alvarado is, man. You go right through it and not even know that you went through it. So,
I was looking, I think it's 4,700 people or something like that.
yeah, and that's big compared to when I grew up there. Like, whenever I was there, we had like less than 2,000. So it's that's massive compared to when I grew up.
When you left Alvarado, did you go to Los Angeles straight away?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I moved out.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 18 years old when
Wow.
I did that. And I moved out just on my own, and me and like 4 buddies lived in one small studio apartment together. Yeah, it was, imagine having a relationship with like 4 guys in a studio apartment with you. It was a little tough, you know? It made stuff a little tough, you know?
You got to be friends real quick.
Oh, yeah, no, we got real close real quick, for sure.
And you blew up on TikTok. Your social media numbers are somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 million now.
Yes, sir.
So you're one of those influencers that social media worked for you, right?
Yeah, man, it was a long journny, dude. I started doing like Vine back in the day, like whenever that was popular.
Luke Combs knows all about that.
Yeah, and I'd got like a decent little following on there, but nothing crazy. And then that's when it kind of started like dying out. And there was that thing called Musical.ly. And don't go watch my Musical.lys, please. They were really bad.
It's out there forever.
Yeah, no, it's out. No, people have them for sure. And then TikTok came around. I swore, but I was like, I'm not gonna do this. It's too cringy, man. I can't get on it. And someone talked me into it, and I'm very, very grateful I did because it changed my life, man. But yeah, it was a long journey to get there, though.
You know, I've heard people say that though. They said, here's the thing. You got to get through the cringe. No matter what you do, if you were doing it online, if you're out here, you know, busking on the street, somebody is going to be judging you anyway. So Why not do what you want to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because like at that moment I had like I was kind of like all the wrong reasons. I told my parents, I was like, I'm going out to LA. I'm going to go be famous on the internet. I had no idea what that looked like. I didn't know what it was. I didn't like blow up from music or let alone country music. So making the escape to like come over here and do what I actually love to do has been a little tough because everyone thinks I'm from LA. I'm this like TikTok kid that can't do anything else besides be a TikTok kid. And so it's been fun, man.
Out of curiosity, though, you've got 19 million followers just on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
What was it like for the 24 hours when it all went away?
It was honestly, you know, I was everyone asked me like what was your thoughts going on, and that I didn't honestly. I kind of like hate social media now, man. It's kind of I've been doing it for so long. I kind of was like, you know, if God's doing that, then that means there's something else coming. I was just kind of leaning into it. I didn't really know what my next plan was, but I knew we would figure it out, you know. And I feel like that we've done a really good job at that's why I feel like a lot of like the Vine guys kind of disappeared after us because they didn't like convert it over to the other platforms. And I feel like we have a good fan base on the other platforms as well. And so, we'll still get eyes regardless.
Yeah. Well, statistics show that you are the #1 followed country star on TikTok.
Yeah, it sounds funny because I can't sell out as much as the country anyone bigger than me. So you know what I mean. So following wise, we're getting to the rooms though. We'll fill the rooms out eventually. But
so growing up in Texas, who were you listening to? Like who was playing on the radio?
Well, my dad is like old. Like my dad was like a big like Charlie Pride guy, like and stuff like that. I grew up Garth Brooks, like all the old country, but like someone that I look up to like a lot right now and like that I based at first when I started coming over was like Luke Combs. I think that just like I got to spend a couple days with him too and stuff like that. And I think just his heart, his mindset, his the reason why he kind of does everything. I've kind of heard a little bit of his story and
he's so
I've always looked up. He's so good
and so like, unassuming.
So unassuming.
Yeah.
And it was just he's been someone that I've looked up to for a very long time, and so getting to sit down and hear everything and why he does it and the stories behind everything, it made me love him even more.
Well, the cool part about him is, too, the guys he was writing with 5 years ago before Hurricane are the guys he's still writing with.
Mm-hmm. Taylor,
that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it, right?
Taylor Phillips and all those guys. Those are great guys, man. So,
John Morgan. Tell us about that friendship and how tonight you're going to introduce him with Charlie co-hosts. You guys are working.
We actually like I haven't had a whole lot of time to build a relationship yet and stuff like that. But we have lots of mutual friends and stuff. So tonight's kind of like the first just welcoming of like a real start to a real friendship here. But we've just been like in passing and stuff like that. So just super excited to be around the whole family and all that stuff and get to know more people. You know, I've only been to the Opry a couple times, so this is like really awesome to me.
When was your first time?
I think I got like really lucky, man. I think I was there with Jelly Roll the very first time.
Well, then you were one of the 400 people he had backstage. Yeah.
I think one of the first times was Jelly Roll and Ashley Cook. Was the
okay.
I got to watch her debut as well, so that was awesome.
Well, tell us about and we're going to feature this first. It's called Cry at Our Last Dance, the wedding version.
Yes, sir. Dude, that was honestly, man, one of the coolest songs I've ever put out. I have one of my best friends, Kristen Whitman, and she just got married to Jacob Savage, and they've been some of my best friends for a long time, and they're very popular on the internet and stuff as well. And she called me, and she was like, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I want to surprise my dad, and I want you to write our daddy-daughter dance song. And I was like... Out of everybody you could have called, you chose me. Like I was like, heck yeah, man. And so I called in a couple of my buddies and people that I feel like could really like bring the story to life. You know, we got great guys on the song like Thomas Archer and Dalton Dover, my buddy Andrew Sevener, and we got a lot of awesome people on it with us. And I was like, I wanted to make this as special as possible. And I don't know, we came up with this Cry at Our Last Dance thing. I feel like there was something so vulnerable about it, and like the tag at the end is like. It's like, he's a lucky man, and I hope you understand if I cry at our last dance. Like, I just feel like there was something so powerful behind, like, dads and everything are so, like, dominant, and, like, they can't cry, and, he fought over in Afghanistan, and I was like, my goal is to make this man cry, you know what I mean? I needed to do it, and I was blown away with how we brought it together, and then the performance part of it, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever done.
And how long did it take, once you were given a command performance, to write?
We had, I think, like a couple weeks to write it. So we had some time to write it. But we ended up going back and forth because I wanted to make sure it was perfect for her. You know, it wasn't my song at all. And I was blessed that she gave me the opportunity to put it out because I think it is so special and a lot of people can use it in their lives as well. But originally it was just for her wedding, and then we wanted everyone to hear it because of how special it came out. But I went I would write the verse, send it to her, like, is this the right direction to write the chorus? Like, is this a good chorus? Like, I wanted to make sure everything was so perfect for her.
Did he cry?
He cried.
Oh,
yeah. Like that was what was hard, but that's what was hard when I was performing it there was because I was watching them and then I was like, okay, I probably shouldn't just look at them the whole time. I should probably look around. I started looking around and then everybody's just bawling. I was like, all right, I'm not going to look around. That's going to make me cry too. So
just look over their heads.
Yeah, I'm just going to look right past them, honestly, So.
Well, Tayler Holder is here and all over the world. Cry at Our Last Dance. It's on WSM Radio and Circle Country Television.
More coffee, country, and Cody is on WSM.
And that means more Tayler Holder in studio this morning. Tayler with an ER.
ER.
What's the significance of that?
Let me call my mom and dad real quick. Honestly, I don't know, man. But if you think about it, I always tell people, and I get ripped for this whenever I talk to another Taylor, but I feel like we did it right. Like if you think about it, OR is Taylor. in a sense, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Taylor's right. So maybe we got it figured out, and they're still struggling. I don't know.
That's the way
We're outnumbered for sure. But like,
You never found a keychain with your name spelled right
never,
on it.
not
Never.
once. Like,
Sorry about that.
Starbucks never got my name right on the cup. So
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, catch us up on what's ahead for you. We were talking off the air as we were listening a little bit earlier to Cry at Our Last Dance about CMA Fest is one of the things you got coming up, and Jelly Roll and Post Malone tour. And
yes, sir. Yeah, we so my first I played I've been playing CMA Fest the last couple years, and last year I had my first official like CMA Fest stage. And it was absolutely the coolest experience ever. I always like, you get these like moments where like, what if no one shows up, right? And
where were you downtown?
I was we played at the Reverb stage, the one right outside of Bridgestone Arena.
Okay.
And I remember walking out. I had an interview like probably like an hour before my set, and I walked out and no one was out there in front of the thing. I was like, oh, we're in for a long day, boys. And I didn't look again, and I went backstage. I did my interview, whatever, got my stuff ready, and I went out. And when I tell you, it was like unbelievable.
It went out.
It went out to Broadway, down the streets. Like, it was so much fun. And we're playing again this year, and we got the Chevy Vibe stage, and so I'm so excited to shut that one down again as well. So, and the Jelly Roll and Post Malone tour.
Oh yeah, one of the biggest tours going right now.
We just got word that we closed that, and we're going. We start next weekend in my hometown at the Dallas Cowboy Stadium, and I get to play the parking lot party and get the show kicked off before they go in the stadium. And
Kelly, what's the name of that tour?
That would be the biggest tour.
There you go.
No, we don't like to say it. We're all like, why did you name it this? Between you and Jordan Davis, I need to get a hold of Posty and be like, dude, we got to say that on the air all the time. Have you met Post Malone?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts?
So it was we met. I was actually with Jelly at Losers, I think, and we were in the little back bar that they're always in or whatever, and so I just kind of was just hanging and mingling with them or whatever. But super nice guy. Like, it's kind of been cool to like see these guys that have like Post Malone is definitely one person that I would probably be like, that's the coolest night of my life. Like, I don't really get very like starstruck or look up to really very many people like that to that extent, but like Post is definitely one of those guys I'd add to my list, and to just have one of the most normal conversations was the coolest thing ever. And he's so like soft spoken and sweet and everything.
And so happy.
Yeah, he's like the happiest guy I've ever met. Like, I don't even everything could be so wrong in the world and he'd still be smiling.
And you share Dallas in common. I mean, Alvaredo's obviously your hometown, south of Fort Worth, Dallas. But what in the world, in the little town of 4,000 or 5,000 people, are they thinking about you these days? Up the road, putting on this tour?
it is one of those things where like everybody knows everybody, and my mom still has everyone on Facebook, and so they're always like checking in. And at first there was people that we hadn't, like, we never were really close to, but we would talk to here and there. They knew me from school or whatever, and then their parents would reach out to my mom like 10 years later whenever I was like kind of starting this, and you're like, how have you guys, but we should get lunch and this and that. And my mom is such a sweetheart that it's cool. It's kind of like surreal. Like, I still feel like that small town kid. Like, I don't really feel like I'm like anything that anyone should like look up to or like be idolizing or anything like that. I just feel like I'm just a kid from Alvarado just singing songs now. You know?
What'd your mom and dad do growing up?
So my dad, my mom did hospice for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And then whenever she had us, she was just very hands-on, me and my brother. And then my dad, he was a welder for a long time, and now he's a superintendent of that same company. He's been there for like 20 years, 25 years. And so my dad still does that. He travels a bunch and all that stuff, and my brother works with him. So
how often do they come see you?
You know, my parents' house burned down last year.
Oh my gosh.
So my mom is living with me right now, just until they get up and go. My dad still has to stay in Texas for work, so he's just living in a camper that's on our land out there right now, because the house is it's in dirt, so he travels a lot. They're gone for months at a time, so I don't really see my dad or my brother very often. But my mom is always hands-on with me. She comes on the road and sells merch for me and all that stuff. So
she's your merch girl.
Yeah, it's literally me, my best friend John that runs my life, and my mom and the boys that play with us. So we just got a little small family that goes out. We don't really got anything like a whole massive team behind us. It's just very small.
Did
But
you
that's
say
how
she
it
did?
starts.
She did hospice stuff
for 20 years.
Those they're just angels on earth, because they
That's a
never
hard job.
never get a happy ending. Maybe they do. Maybe there is some peace there. I don't know, but it's so hard.
It's like such a beautiful thing, but such a hard thing to do and watch, and it takes a strong person to do something like that. So
So musically, what's happening next for you?
Oh, I thought we were about to talk about my Musical.ly videos for a second. I was like,
no, I will be Googling.
I thought we were looking past that.
We can find
I thought we were
those.
looking past that.
We'll be Googling those very soon. We'll be finding those. But for you, like, what's on the horizon? Are we getting an album soon? Where are we at in new music?
Absolutely. We're shooting for an EP at the end of this year. We have absolutely hands down. I feel like we get better music every time, but these next songs that we have coming out are definitely some of what I think the best songs I've ever written, released, etc. So we're getting a whole project together. We're doing an EP at the end of this year. We have hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not official yet. But, I mean, it's official. The vocals just aren't on it yet. But we have a new redrop of Die in Flame too. I can't say. I'll tell you guys off air until we launch it. But we have like so many cool things. We have a couple features coming out. One with a female, one with a male one. So we got lots of stuff we're working on, just keeping it fun. So
that's awesome.
So what's life like in Jolton for you these days? You said
Jolton,
you've relocated
Tennessee.
to Middle Tennessee.
Yes, sir, man. Jolton is what I like to call God's country. You know what I mean? It's there's not a whole lot going on there. It feels a lot like Alvarado. It feels like you have one little like grocery store that's like way overpriced because it's also like in the middle of nowhere. So who's going there as well? But and there's just like 2 gas stations. But it's I love it. It's exactly what I've always wanted. I've always wanted a piece of land. I wanted to I grew up racing dirt bikes my whole life and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So I have a dirt bike track out there.
I see you were 3 years old when you were racing dirt bikes.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Well, whenever I first got my first bike and I had little training wheels on it, and then we eventually took them off, and I would just kind of fall over. Whenever you're that little, you're kind of like a bobblehead, man. Your helmet's so big, and every time you hit the gas, you're just like going, and it's funny. But and I've always wanted to be just in the middle of nowhere, and we got a house, and my house is like a quarter of a mile off the road, and we're just tucked back, and I love it so much. It's everything I've ever wanted.
Well, if Too Slim of Riders in the Sky is watching or listening this morning, he's up that way. The land that Public Works forgot is how he refers.
Yes, dude. I'm telling you, that's
That
and there's
whole part
actually like a lot more friends out there than I thought. Like I thought like who is out in Jolton, Tennessee, and we got people like Dylan Marlowe and Kane Brown is right up the road from me and stuff like that. And you got I think like Kid Rock is up there too.
Yeah, he is.
I can see his house from mine. I mean it looks massive even from like 80,000 miles away. So I don't even know what it would look like if I was up close to it. So
no one who behaves lives in Jolton.
Yeah, pretty much. And Chase Matthew is about like 15, 20 minutes. So that's a whole other thing.
There you go.
He came out for my birthday, and we have the whole moto track at my
I was
house.
going to say, he can work on your cars, your engines. That guy's
He's actually about to fix my side-by-side right now. But he came to my birthday with like all these toys, all these 4-wheelers, all these quads. He goes, yo, I'm trying to total every single one of them today. And I was like, we can definitely do that, man. We can 100% do that. So...
All right, so Die in Flame's an original, a co-write, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we wrote that with a buddy of mine, Graham Barham. We wrote it with...
Graham's been with us.
Yeah, Dallas Wilson and Bo Bailey. And I've known all those guys for quite some time now, and we were just out on a 2-foot, right, at Old Hickory, the lake. We were out there all tethered up, and we all saw each other, and we were like, dude, why have we not wrote a song together? And right when we got in there to write that song, I was kind of... You have these like toxic relationship things where like you guys love each other. You know you're so wrong, but you kind of just do it anyways, know? And that's kind of what I was going through at that moment. And so I was like, I want to dive into this, but I don't want it this like sad whatever. I wanted to try something a little different, like the trappy country stuff. And I was like, I've had this idea of like Die in Flame. Like it doesn't matter how much you put gas on it or throw a match at it or whatever. It's going to go out because it's just so wrong. And those boys were like, that's fire. And they helped me like sculpt it. And Graham's like melodies were crazy and everyone's songwriting. It just helped bring it to life. And it came out better than I ever thought. So.
Well, the songwriters in this town tell you, write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Die in Flame, that's where we'll wrap up. Taylor, thanks for coming to see us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys so much.
Have fun at the Opry tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Doing When I Call Your Name, as he said, the first song he ever did on that stage. And Mr. A-Cup stood about 2 feet away staring at him the whole time.
But then he couldn't see him, right? Or couldn't hear him. Which one was it?
I thought he was tearing up, but I just realized he was having trouble with his eyes.
That's it.
And he'll be back tonight and tomorrow. A little break from the Eagles residency and before his big spring-summer tour kicks off. So Vince is busy in 2025.
How many nights at the Ryman? 4 or 5?
They added a 5th.
Fifth,
Yep.
yeah,
And
okay.
Karina is opening all the shows. And her album, by the way, she's going to come join us one day.
Good.
Her album is so good. She is fantastic.
That's amazing.
And I remember when she was born, it was back in the days the park was still open, Opryland USA, and we were in the park studio. And hotline rang, and it was Vince. And he goes, hey, how you spell Karina? He wanted to make sure he got it like the song that inspired her name. So anyway.
That's so fun. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. What you working on this morning, girl?
Well, we're just jumping all around. We got a lot of things that are coming up. Next week is ACMs. We're going to be in Texas covering all of that. But then after that, it's CMA Fest. And I know a lot of people are trying to get a jump on the planning, because if you come here for that, it is much like you're going to a convention and you have to make sure that you hit all of the highlights. You don't want to miss anything. So if you're making plans, you're coming to town for CMA Fest, make sure that you add an Opry show to your calendar, because we have them all week long. It was just announced. We've got some really special shows. It starts June 3rd, double show with Carrie Underwood and Whisper and Bill Anderson. Then Star Power grows on June the 4th, because we've got Scotty McCreery, Justin Moore, Mitchell Tenpenny, Colby Calais, and more set to take the stage. On the 5th, we have Brandon Lake coming back to be with us. Love it. Christian artist Brandon Lake, whom I had a chance to interview last week out in California, and I just adore him. And we have regular shows that are going to be happening on June 6th and 7th. So Opry.com, get your tickets. Make sure you add that into your package. Okay, this is really cool. Casey Musgraves, when she got signed way back when, I think it was like 2010 maybe, she was signed to Lost Highway Records. Before she had a chance to put out her first album, Lost Highway was folded into Mercury. So she was actually on the Mercury label when she released Same Trailer, Different Park. Well, now all the shakeup and things have been changing around. Lost Highway is back. So they've revived the name Lost Highway Records. She is the first artist to be on Lost Highway Records, and she decided to do a cover of Hank Williams' classic song, Lost Highway. Take a listen.
When I pass by, all the people say, just another soul on the lost highway.
Ooh, making it sound like 1949 of the original, isn't she?
Man, there are very few people that are contemporary that put out stuff that you get played on the radio, but then also can do a classic song like that and do it justice. And Casey really can. She just sounds so good. So congratulations, full circle moment. She's back on Lost Highway. Kenny Chesney and Megan Maroney have a new duet that's coming out. It's going to happen next week, and Megan is the one who wrote it. So if you remember, she went out on tour with Kenny. She was touring all around with him last year. But way back in 2018, she bought a ticket to go see him at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. She was in the crowd, just like any other fan. Then you fast forward, and there she is becoming really good friends with Kenny. So she wrote a song about it for Kenny. He did it with her as a duet. And now here's a little snippet of it. Take a listen. Had to be there. She said, 7 years later, I got a very different point of view being on stage with Kenny. And that's going to be coming out on the 9th. Okay, one more story we've got. Our Kentucky Derby 151st is happening tomorrow. We talked about the origin of the mint julep. It's been around and become the official drink since the 1930s. So it actually has origins back to the 1400s, they said, in England. It is officially just a sugar cube, muddled mint. If you want to muddle it, you can, or you just put the sprig in there, crushed ice, and bourbon. So there's not much more to it than that. However, another tradition are the hats. So the hats date back to 1711, as it was ordered that guests inside the royal enclosure, this was at Royal Ascot, would have to maintain a strict dress code, including hats for ladies. So that has carried over ever since.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
I'm so excited to see her. It's been way too long. Sit down and make yourself at home, Donna Fargo.
Oh, thank you, Bill Cody. I'm getting to talk to the most popular DJ in America, man.
That's
with
right.
Charlie and Kelly.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
So CMA, ACM, Grammy Award winner. Let's go back to 1972 and how your life changed. What were you doing prior to Happiest Girl and Funny Face?
I was teaching high school English in Southern California. and I was head of the English department. I'd moved from North Carolina after I graduated from college and lived with my brother and got a job teaching. And my brother always knew that I wanted to be a singer because I kept it a secret, all my life. I thought I'll never be able to do that. But I just, how dreams are. They just lie there and warm your heart. And so Gail, my brother, found out there was a company in just Hollywood, I guess, that was looking for a girl singer to do demos. And I called him up and met Stan, who became my husband later.
Stan Silver.
Yes, Stan Silver. And he's, anyway, so I asked him, I said, I think I could write songs. Would you teach me to play guitar if I don't take too much of your time and, I'm not a pain and stuff? And he said, yeah. He was so kind and sweet. And he gave me a guitar, taught me some chords, just enough that I could write what I was hearing, in my heart, in my head. And after a while, I had a few that I thought, these are pretty good. We came to Nashville. I guess it was an Easter vacation, maybe 71. I don't know, but it was close to.
Had you spent any time here from your growing up in
No.
North Carolina? You not spent any time in Nashville?
No, but I was always fascinated and loved Nashville. I thought, maybe someday.
Yeah.
And we cut Happiest Girl, Funny Face, and 2 other songs on one session. And Stan shopped them around, and I went back to teaching, and Dot Records picked, they signed me to a contract and put out Happiest Girl. And I was so fortunate to be able to have back-to-back million sellers.
And they crossed over.
They did.
Which was not very common in country music to cross over.
Well, I
pop.
guess Dolly had. I don't know if she had then or not, but in 72. But I was so excited, I didn't even know what I was doing. I mean, I thought, well, now's the time. I got to do this.
So when it played on the radio the first time, were you still teaching English?
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine?
Oh yeah,
Just-
you became
you're
really
hearing it
you
on
became the
radio.
cool teacher really fast.
But see, I kept it a secret from the kids because I said, you're just trying to waste time in class. So I said, if you come after class, you can ask me any question you want. And they did, They were very excited for me, and because I was Mrs. Silver.
I was going to say you were Miss. Yeah, you weren't Mrs. Fargo.
So it was easy
yeah.
to keep that secret, and I'm kind of bashful anyway and scared of everything. So anyway, it was just very exciting. I mean, dreams come true.
We have an ongoing story here on the show that regards Donna Fargo. And
Really?
A note that you sent to Charlie in a book that you wrote.
Oh.
And where you want to share the story with Donna on?
It was you had joined us. It was one of your beautiful inspirational books, right? And
Yeah.
you had signed copies for both me and Bill. And I guess I had left it on the coffee table, and my wife was just cleaning, and she opened it up, and I get a phone call. I'm record shopping at the Great Escape, and she goes, "Let me ask you a question, mister. Who is Donna Fargo, and why does she love you?" And I'm like, well, Donna Fargo is the happiest girl in the whole USA. And she goes, "Oh, I wasn't thinking music. Oh, okay." But for about 3 seconds, I was in great trouble.
So when your recording career came to an end, you continued to write.
I did.
Greetings.
Yeah.
Inspirational books. Had you always done that?
No.
Along with songwriting?
No.
How did you start doing that?
Well, I went to Stan one day, and of course, I was with different labels. I was with Dot first, and then Warner Brothers,
Right.
and then Mercury, Polygram. Anyhow, so I got off track. My brain took a break. Where were we, Bill?
No, and then you started writing these
Greeting
cards
yeah.
and
I've written
inspirational books.
8 books for a company called Blue Mountain Arts, and over 2,000 greeting cards. And really, those little poetic greeting cards are kind of like songs with no clothes on. You know, they don't have a melody. They have to stand alone. So I think that's really good practice for a writer, because those words really have to mean everything, you know, because they don't have that melody like with music. You know how you can get by with music sometimes. But it's been very cool. I love to write. I mean, you find out who you are, Bill, when you write, you know?
Yeah.
That's so true.
By the way, who gets credit for Donna? How do you come up with Donna Fargo?
My name?
The name, yeah.
Oh, well, the first company that recorded me was in Phoenix, Arizona. And there was a guy there, a disc jockey, Biff Colley. Do you ever remember him?
Yes, I know Biff.
He was with us. He was a friend of ours. And I had a song that I'd written called Would You Believe a Lifetime? And so Stan had pitched it to this company in Phoenix. And he had a record company called Ramco. And they said, well, what would you think about changing your name? Because my name was Yvonne Von Silver. He said, you know, jocks might not play it if they can't pronounce your name. I said, okay, well, what'd you have in mind? And this guy there was from one of the studios in LA. And he said, I used to know a lovely lady named Donna Fargo, and I thought that was a great name. And everybody just kind of looked at each other, and they were getting ready to do the label. So it was time to pick a name to live with you forever, maybe. So I said, well, what do you think, Stan? He said, I don't care if you don't care. I can call you Donna. So that's the way I became Donna Fargo.
And that's how she became the happiest girl in the whole USA. Donna Fargo on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Now, more Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
And more with Donna Fargo and new music. We've talked about how it all started back in 1972 with Happiest Girl and Funny Face and the extraordinary success that followed. But you've been back in the studio. You and Stan,
Yeah.
your late husband.
Yes.
This was done how long ago?
This new record you're talking about? Well, he died in 2021, so it would have been very soon.
Was that complications
before
from
that.
COVID?
Yes.
And didn't you both have it?
We both had it, and my nurse from my doctor's office called the ambulance. She said, you've got to go to the hospital right now. And we both went to the hospital, and he died. They sent me home and said, come back tomorrow and we'll do a monoclonal antibodies infusion. So it took a couple of hours, and they didn't give Stan that. And he was, he just died there. I never saw him after that, because I had the stuff too.
Yeah, that was just such a rough time. And we
It
hate
was
that.
terrible.
But it's so nice that you have these little pieces of
Yeah.
him that you said that he was in there mixing it, and you have all these beautiful reminders, and now you get to put out an album.
Yeah.
So it's like
well,
he's still
we
there
don't have
with
the
you.
album out. We've just got the single. I'm going
Right.
to see what happens and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And it'll take a miracle, Bill Cody. But I just think it's cool, this song. Even if I did write it.
What's the Dance with Donna challenge that I see on some of the social media posts?
I don't know. I'm about as technological as a rock. So I don't keep up with this stuff. But I told him, I do a little video or something on YouTube, and I lip sync the song. So I encourage them all, do lip syncs and dances and stuff.
Okay.
So they've got that thing going, I think. Because it's up-tempo enough to kind of move to. I mean, it makes you want to move.
You and Andy Griffith share the same hometown, Mount Airy, North Carolina,
Yeah.
which we think of as the modern-day Mayberry, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
It's a great little city.
I was going to say, what was life like growing up there? You went on to school, teach, but what did your folks do?
My parents? My father was a landowner, and he raised tobacco. And I would work in tobacco for other people because they paid me more. But anyway, I'd hand it first, and they put it on a stick or something. Then I would tie it after I grew up a little. And it was fun. I would get to hang out with my grandmother, and she would tell me, you can be anything you want. And that was the first positive thing. I think it planted a little seed in me that my dream maybe could come true. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But words are so important.
Yeah. Have girls come up to you? What is that like? Just knowing that after putting that out, there are these little girls that watched you and were listening to your albums that may have turned around and said, hey, I think I can do that too.
Yeah. They tell you wonderful stories. And a man even came up and he said, Donna, I've got 7 children. My wife just died. And he said, we had Happiest Girl played at her funeral. That song meant so much to her. And
how much were you playing the Opry during that time?
I played it only once.
Really?
I don't know why.
Well, I wondered, because I didn't think it was a lot, but at the same time, you run into artists who, when they have that extraordinary blow up like you did, is they're too busy. They're on the road, and they weren't here to play the. Of course, in those days, we were just doing Fridays and Saturdays too. We didn't have the multi-show weeks that we have now.
Yeah, and I was learning my way, because.
Who would have introduced you on your Opry debut? Do you recall?
I don't know. I don't know. I heard you play Vince Gill. I love Vince Gill. I love Chris Stapleton. Of course, probably Chris wasn't around. He was probably just 3 then.
Well, you can count on me as this new. How long did it take you to write this?
Not long, because I think it came from an underlying attitude about that the best relationships are reciprocal. It's a give and take, two-way street kind of thing, and Stan was perfect. He absolutely was. And I was so immature, I don't know how he stayed with me.
I'm just curious, what was it like? Because we talked about teaching, we talked about writing and recording and the songs getting played. What was it like to go on the road, though, and suddenly have 15, 20,000 people singing these songs back to you? That had to be surreal.
Oh, it was exciting. Yeah. We had a band bus and our bus, and I'd take 10 hours to get dressed. And I don't know, it was fun, and I loved it.
Kelly Sutton resembles that remark.
Oh, listen, we got a lot of stuff to work on. There's hair, there's makeup, there's lipstick, there's outfits, there's earrings, there's more hair. There's a lot.
Some of us wish they had hair to work on.
I'll tell you where
there's a reason why I have a hair.
Listen, we know where you can buy some. It's, that was the
cover
thing.
Your hair with hats.
That's right.
I mean, I'm saying, what kind of hat am I going to wear?
Donna, thank you so much for taking time and getting up early and coming in this morning.
I hope you like the new record.
And we're going to feature it all over the world on WSM Radio and Circle Country Television. You can count on me from Donna Fargo. Shine, my pick of the week. Drew and Ellie Holcomb tonight, tomorrow night, Ryman Auditorium.
Now, if you'd like to go with someone, I would suggest maybe buying tickets for tonight. If you'd like to go by yourself, I think there are 3 singles left for Saturday.
Really? That's it?
Yeah, because the Saturday was the first show, and then that came so close to selling out, they added the second, which is actually before the first.
Gosh, I love them.
By the way, that album, Memory Bank, is where you'll find Rain or Shine, brand new from Drew and Ellie Holcomb.
And she's doing something at First Baptist Church tomorrow afternoon for her children's book and album. Yeah, so she'll be there at 3, and then at the Ryman at 8, and I think eating at Assembly Food Hall in between, we talked about.
Or Shake Shack. Shake Shack is in Assembly Food Hall.
Right,
but that's my trick whenever we have a show that's downtown, because they have an app, so I can order it ahead on the app. I can swing by and grab it and then just walk in the Ryman.
You're cheaper than my wife. She wants 60 vines, which runs into a higher bill.
But we don't have time most of the time. I don't have time.
She makes time.
I need to be living like Renee. I'm like, let's just eat really quick and get over there. I need to be the opposite. Okay, we've got breaking news. Very excited.
Hang on.
Hold on. Give me the timpani. Right. Come on. There it is. Breaking news, and this just made my boy band loving heart swell over. I am so excited. Rascal Flatts and Backstreet Boys together. I just talked to Backstreet. They did not mention this, so they were keeping secrets when they were out there. But they have tapped Backstreet Boys, Rascal Flatts has, to fulfill the dream collaboration that both bands have had for years, doing what hurts the most together.
So they just released something with the Jonas Brothers, too,
Yes.
though, right? Their new single. Wow, they're
Yes.
like tapping the...
I don't know. This is so breaking news. I don't know. Do we have a little clip of it? I think maybe. Okay. Free Steel, if you're listening this morning, congratulations, brother. It's about to hit the charts again. But not only are they releasing this, they're going to be performing it together on the ACMs. We just found out next week. So if you are wondering what's going on here, well, Flats just wrapped up their tour. They're doing the Life is a Highway Refueled Duets album. So their biggest hits, but they're bringing everybody in to kind of do a new interpretation of them. I Dare You is the new song that's on there. That's with the Jonas Brothers that we were talking about. Fast Cards and Freedom with Jason Aldean. My Wish with Carly Pearce. They've got Mayberry with Blake Shelton. Oh, love that so much. Stand with Brandon Lake. Brandon Lake is all over the place these days. Ashley Cook did Summer Nights. What Hurts the Most with Backstreet. Yours If You Want It, Jordan Davis. Lizzie Hale doing Life is a Highway. Whoa, that's going to be like rockin'. And I'm moving on with Kelly Clarkson. That is delightful. I'm excited about all of that. Again, Life is a Highway Refueled Duets. It's just going to be probably my favorite thing of the summer. All right, let's talk about CMA Fest, Grand Ole Opry. We told you we've got special shows. Don't want you to miss out on this. On the 3rd, double show with Carrie Underwood. That's happening June 3rd. Then the 4th, Scotty McCreery, Justin Moore, Mitchell Tenpenny, Colby Calais. They're all going to be there. 5th has just added Brandon Lake. I said he's everywhere. I meant it. Also, June 6th and 7th, we will have shows. So if you're making out that schedule, you're coming to town for CMA Fest, get your tickets, Opry.com. They're on sale right now. We talked about this weekend being the 151st Run for the Roses.
And here they come to me now.
Around the stretch, everybody. So how did the mint julep become the official drink? Well, mint juleps can be traced back to like the 1400s in England. Then they said they were maybe brought over. They are thinking it was either Virginia or South Carolina in the 1700s. But it really took hold at the Kentucky Derby in the 1930s. So think Prohibition. People probably sneak in a little something in. But if they had a refreshing drink with a little mint in it, I don't know if they knew that there was bourbon in there as well. If you are looking for the official mint julep, it is mint, sugar, crushed ice, and bourbon. And you said it's Old Forester.
Old Forester officially is the what the Kentucky Derby has on their website.
Yeah. And they said you can do simple syrup or you can just do the sugar cube. I've had it with the sugar cube and with the simple syrup, and I've also had it with muddled mint, and it did taste like a mojito.
Yeah, like a bourbon mojito.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you on the mint thing.
That's okay. I mean,
It's
I'm
overpowering.
a fan of sugar, and simple syrup is fine,
Yes.
but I just rather just have the bourbon.
I can get that, yeah.
But if I'm there, I'm happy to.
Okay, this is going to be sacrilege,
Who's buying?
but I'm just
Exactly.
saying.
Thank you.
If someone hands it to you, you're going to try it. But if you had a little orange in there, then it would feel more like an old fashioned.
Yeah, a little more citrusy than minty.
Yeah, I think I'd like that. Okay, here are the numbers. Nearly 120,000 mint juleps are going to be served over a 2-day period at Churchill Downs. 10,000 bottles of bourbon will go through. They will go through 10,000 bottles of bourbon, 1,000 pounds of freshly harvested mint, and 60,000 pounds of ice at the Running for the Roses. And if you're wondering about the hat tradition, I found out that dates back to the 1700s, and it was actually part of what they required as the dress code to get into Royal Ascot. Started in 1711. They said they had a strict dress code, including hats for the women at English horse races, and it just carried on into the Derby.
Fon.
There you go.
And we have our version, the Iroquois Steeplechase,
Yes.
next weekend here in Nashville. And I saw that the purse is nearly $600,000.
It's crazy,
yeah,
right?
It's really grown.
They also said your hat, depending on where you sit, is what kind of hat you wear. If you are in the stands, you have a big brim hat, like the very nice, big, huge ones. But the smaller fascinators are usually the people that are in the infield so that people can see over their head.
Oh.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, from up there on Millionaires Row where you're sitting with your big hat on.
That's right. Cheers.
It's Coffee, Country, and Cody with Charlie Manos, Kelly Sutton, Annie Nye, Jeff Roberts, Billy Boy. Enjoy your weekend. Here's Carly Pierce.